This is Buadu TV, truth and integrity.
Abusia ya mamu nyina kwa ba Fambra Body TV so yebe so first time na wa subscribe ye nyina like video no na ye je comment or comment section mo na 43 years ni ayekum ajeje form yansa mema mienu e no baba ako se asem bi koso na ohwe judgment e ba ya na ye se anye jeje de e ma otuom so sa ekuom ya san hye body no wie no san si omo yiso na toye e na yi body ni pie mo ye Paul Adom Otchere Adom Otchere dia NDC aye PNDC e de ye Ghana for e fa asem no ho an nei Mahama so e twe Torkorno aboso anye bia e abakosem na esensi ana se den Paul Adom Otchere aboeremu National Prayer and Thanksgiving Service so koso and so what they are twaso yetie Paul Adom Otchere
today, which was Martyrs Day on 30th June every year since 1983. The Ghana Bar Association has been celebrating the gruesome and brutal murder of the 3 High Court judges and the retired army officer. We've never done this before, but tonight we are taking you back into the gory details of how these judges died. When we have finished, you can learn the story. It's important that this book, please, anyone who's watching me who knows Papa Kowakwe, tell him that I'm looking for his photograph urgently because I want to put it on TV today for a reason, because he gave me the book that I'm going to use. This is a book entitled Who Killed the Judges and is written by Yidana, and I'm going to tell you a bit about it. The other book that we refer to is this. These are 2 books that capture the history of Ghana that should never ever be forgotten. This one was in 1983, Who Killed the Judges. This one was in 1966, The Dark Days in Ghana. This one is written by Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, and this one is written by ASP Yidana. Tonight, we're going to begin with why the Ghana Bar Association will every year on the 30th of June gather at the forecourt of the Supreme Court building to remember the event. Yesterday, when they gathered, Ifua Gatti, the president of the bar, had this to say. Is it here? Ifua Gatti had this. He said that in response to the call for reconciliation by the National Reconciliation Commission and the biblical injunction that we should forgive those who trespass against us, we have forgiven the wrongdoers for their cowardly and evil deeds, but we still remember those matters of the rule of law and will continue to celebrate them, lest we forget what they lived and died for. She had more to say. She said Justices Fred Pokusako-Dear, Cecilia Krante-Addo, and Kwejo Ejie-Japon, the bar, the bench, and the people of Ghana salute you and draw inspiration from your bold and courageous manner in which you administered justice in those challenging times. You died in the line of duty. You performed your duty as judges without fear or favor. You stood for the rule of law. Your assassins hated you, stood for murdered. Your assassins hated what you stood for and murdered you, but they could not eliminate what you stood for. Your monuments stand in the forecourt of the Supreme Court building as a constant reminder of the good qualities of a required judge. We should be careful, she said, as a nation, not to go down the slippery slope of endless revenge by justifying various acts with the refrain, but others did that too. Unquote. Ifua Gatti is the president of the Ghana Bar Association. Now, this event is 43 years ago. At that time, I've been 7 years old, or 6.5, maybe it was in June. So even for me, it was very old now. It was fresh, it was new. I didn't quite understand it until I grew up. The young generation don't understand. If you look on Facebook, somebody said, I saw somebody do a TV program and says that the judges who were killed, what did they do? They were doing this. They are bad people. And when I saw that yesterday, I had never done this before, but I thought we should bring out the real story of what happened so that those who are 21, 18, 19, 17, 26, 32, who have never heard this before, who are interested in nation building, and I'm hoping that they're all interested in nation building, not just about bread and butter, interested in nation building and interested in fostering national unity, will understand that this was an act that we should never forget. So tonight, I'm going to show you on the touch screen. I have some very gory photographs. I hope that I don't have to show it. The photographs of the bodies of the people, I don't have to show you. So this is what happened. One day on 30th June in Ghana, people were going about their normal business. There was a military coup, so there was a curfew. And then suddenly news broke that people had been abducted from their home. That means somebody went to their home and took them, put them in a car and sent them to a place and burnt their bodies, shot them with guns and burned their bodies. The people who were taken were 3 High Court judges and 1 retired army officer. And it was a dastardly act. An investigation was conducted and 1 person called Adom Otchere was executed. It's a very painful story and it was a very, very heavy heart. Permit me, viewers, let us get into the story of 30th June 1983. Let's start. These were the judges who were taken from their home. Justice Torkorno, a High Court judge sitting in his home in the evening on 30th June, was picked up. Justice Cecilia Cranton Addo, pregnant woman, was picked up sitting in her home in Accra at East Cantonment. Justice Kojo Ejapon, the father of the one we know, Kwabena Ejapon, was also picked up. And the last one picked up was Major Sam Akwa, a military officer who was the personnel manager at a Ghanaian company called Gihok. They were all picked up and they were brutally murdered. Their bodies were burnt. But there was heavy rainfall on the 9th of 30th June. So the rain helped to maintain and keep their bodies from completely burning out of recognition. And that was an act of God that helps us to tell the story today. Let's begin with how Major Sam Akwa was picked up in his home as captured by Yidana. Okay, so it starts from here. Major Sam Akwa lived in a 1-story house in one of the then fast-growing and developing suburbs of Accra called Jowolo. The house was near the Accra-Tema motorway extension on a road which branched off from the 37 Military Hospital Road. When we got to the house, we were told, this is the policeman who did the investigation writing. When we got to the house, we were told that only 2 people had seen what happened that night. The 2 people were Mrs. Jemima Akwa, his wife, and Regina Mensah, that is wife and niece respectively of Major Akwa. Mrs. Jemima Akwa was too distressed to speak to us, and Regina Mensah was at school. We decided that Mrs. Akwa should take her time and compose herself for the interview while we went to the school to talk to Regina. Regina said that on the 9th of 30th June, is June, not January, on the 9th of 30th June at about 9:30 p.m., she was sitting in front of their house when she saw the headlights of a car. She thought it was her uncle coming home, but when the vehicle got closer, she realized that it was not her uncle's car. It drove past the next house and, using the entrance, turned back to Akwa's house. A young man of fair complexion got out. That was Adom Otchere. He got out. According to Regina, the man asked if Major Sam Akwa was in. She told him that her uncle had gone out. As the man turned and walked back to the vehicle, he said that he would come back. Regina said the vehicle was white and she saw a wire mesh around the headlights of the car. By the time we had finished with Regina, Mrs. Akwa had gained reasonable degree of composure to be able to talk to us without breaking down. She told us that on the 19th question, Major Akwa had come home from the office at about 7 p.m., but he left the house to attend a wakekeeping. He returned at about 9:45 p.m. She said her husband had not had supper before leaving the house for the week. So on his return, she was in the process of laying the table for him when she heard the sound of a vehicle which seemed to be coming towards the house. Mrs. Akwa said she was surprised that a vehicle was around the place during the curfew period. Now, for those who don't know what curfew is, curfew was established in Ghana during the military period. It's a period where people are prohibited from going out. So those you can liken it to COVID. Fantastic. COVID is a good example. You know COVID, when Akufo-Addo said you can't go anywhere, curfew is like that. Curfew is 6 to 6. So you can finish all your activity outside your home, or outside any home between 6 in the morning and 6 p.m. When the siren sounds at 6 p.m., you gotta be in your house or you gotta be in somewhere. You cannot be on the street at 6 p.m. When the soldiers see you, they have the liberty to shoot you down because you are considered an enemy of the revolution. That's curfew. And it lasted in Ghana for 2, 3, 4, 5 years. And then sometimes they would change it from 6 to 6 to 6 to 10. Then it went to midnight and then the curfew was over until people fought hard for the 1992 Constitution, which we now enjoy. So let's go on with the story. She said that then she heard somebody pushing at the gates, blah, blah, blah. She came out of the sitting room to the balcony and saw a young man walking towards her. When he got to her, she asked him what he wanted, and he replied that he wanted to see Major Aqua. According to Mrs. Aqua, she asked the man why he had come to the house during the curfew period. He told her that he had spoken to Major Aqua at the Kwame Nkrumah Circle, and he had asked him to come to the house. The man assured her that he had come in a broadcasting corporation vehicle, that's a GBC vehicle, on which there was somebody who had a curfew pass. She went into the sitting room and informed Major Aqua that somebody wanted to see him. Major Aqua, according to his wife, came out of the sitting room barefooted. She said she followed her husband out onto the veranda where the young man told him that he was wanted at Burma camp. Major Aqua invited the young man into the sitting room so that he could wait for him to finish his supper. But he declined. He then pulled out a pistol and aimed at Major Aqua. Another man came into the house while Major Aqua was being marched out by the first to the waiting vehicle. This second man tried to console her, Mrs. Aqua, by assuring her that her husband will be brought back after the interview at Burma camp. She said that she could identify the men. She said that she could identify the men if she saw them again. They wore what she called NT dress. I don't know what that means. And were in their mid-20s. And viewers, that's a dangerous part. 20-year-olds, mid-20s, were conducting this deadly act, picking up people from their house to go and kill them. Kill them. That is the story of 30th June 1983, for which every 30th June, the Ghana Bar Association do what they call Martyrs Day. As for the vehicle, she said she did not have the opportunity to have a close look at it, as the second man prevented her from following her husband out. Neither could she tell the number of people in the vehicle at the time it came to take her husband. Mrs. Aqua was now in such a state that there were many questions she couldn't answer, and we did not try to put too much pressure on her. She said that her husband had never been subjected to that type of treatment before. I felt that we had enough clues to work on. We were told that the vehicle was white and seemed to be a Land Rover. It was also a vehicle belonging to the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, and there was somebody in it, presumably an official, who had a curfew pass. The young man was said to have told Major Aqua that he was wanted at Burma camp. It was also revealed that there was a woman in the vehicle. That woman could have been Mrs. Korantin Ado, who was another High Court judge. It was confirmed that the people were armed and wore NT smokes. From that account of both Regina and Mrs. Aqua, we gathered that each saw more than one person that night. Chilling. That's how Major Aqua was picked up. The story doesn't end there. Let's move to the next person, Justice Ejapon. Unfortunately, Kwabena Ejappon's father, unfortunately. But let's tell the story. I'm sure Kwabena will not mind us telling the story, but it's a very, very difficult one for him and his family, and for Major Aqua's family to be watching this. We hope they are not watching. All right. At the late Justice Ejappon's house, we spoke to his widow. What she told us indicated that the kidnappers used Mrs. Korantin Ado as a bait to lure her husband out of the house and take him to the slaughter grounds at Bondasi. The kidnappers, aware that the judges were known to each other, told Mr. Ejapon that Mrs. Korantin Ado was seriously sick and wanted to see him. Mr. Ejapon left the dining table quickly. Mrs. Ejapon could not tell us what other discussions had taken place between her husband and the young man who brought the news of Mrs. Korantin Ado's ill health, because she went to attend to her baby who was crying upstairs. Neither Mrs. Ejapon nor Abena Dankwa, the maidservant who spoke to the young man, was in a position to identify him if she saw him again. Neither could Abena Dankwa identify the second young man she saw that night. When asked about the vehicle the kidnappers used, she said it looked like a Jeep. But when asked whether she could identify if it was shown to her the next time, she said she was not sure. And that is how Justice Ejapon was picked up. They went to Justice Ejapon's house and said to her that, oh, my lord, your colleague, Mrs. Adom, is not well. He wants to see you. Can you come out and see her? They all lived in the same area in the cantonments, Fourth Circular, Fifth Circular area. So Justice Ejapon thought that, oh, why is Cecilia unwell? Why is Adom unwell? He left the house. His wife also said, oh, the baby was crying, went out. He got out. They grabbed him and put him in the jeep and sent him to Bondase, shot at him, killed him, cut off his legs, and burnt his body. We shall never forget. Can never, as Ifwagate said, there's an injunction to forgive, but we can never ever forget. And the young generation, when I see them on social media writing the things they write, it's very, very dangerous, because karma is real, and you don't know what seeds you are sowing for yourself and your future. When you talk about judges' murder and say that they should clear off, they should die because you belong to a certain political party, very, very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. And that's why I took time to go into Yudane's book and bring this out. It will be on social media. It will be there all the time. People can refer to it, and we can all remember how this dastardly act occurred. So when people are doing press conferences and they say something about the judge's murder and how it affects them, we will now understand. Imagine it was you. You can be anything. You can be MPP, you can be NDC. Imagine that you're a 38-year-old judge. And there are 38-year-old judges today, and they come to your house and tell you that your colleague judge is not well, so come and see her. And you come out, when you are in the middle of your dinner, you stop and you come out, and they grab you and put you in a car and drive you kilometers away to a military camp in Bondase, and they shoot at you and burn your body, your mother, your father, your children. Those people, Kwabena Agyapong is a living example. Kwabena Agyapong was in KNUST. He was studying civil engineering. He heard that judges had died. He didn't think that his father would be one. He came home and he said, your father was one of them. Think about it. Justice Sarkodie Addo. The house of the late Mr. Justice Sarkodie Addo was next in our search for clues. Mrs. Sarkodie Addo gave us a tearful account of the events leading up to the kidnapping, but she had only seen a little bit of the drama and did not get the chance to have a close look at either the kidnappers or the vehicle they came with. When the maid servants came upstairs to inform them that there were 3 people at the door, her husband hurried downstairs. Mrs. Sarkodie Addo said, by the time she came downstairs, her husband and the visitors were walking towards the gate. She said she was curious to know what was happening, so she tried to follow them. But one of the men pointed a gun at her and ordered her to go back. Neither Mrs. Sarkodie nor the maidservant saw the vehicle which took Justice Sarkodie away. But the maidservant said that she could identify the 2 men. Apparently, the night watchman had seen everything. Unfortunately, since he was not aware of our visit, he had already gone home. I told Mrs. Sarkodie to tell him to come to the police headquarters to see me. And that's how it ends on Sarkodie Addo. Let's get to this one. Justice Cecilia Corantin Addo, a female judge, who was pregnant at the time. Cecilia Corantin Addo, a High Court judge, was pregnant at the time. And when I read the account of Cecilia Corantin Addo, you will see that she herself had some premonitions and told people that I think that the soldiers are going to kill me. And she had told people that, and lo and behold, they picked her from her house and killed her. Why? What did they do? They gave rulings in their decisions in the High Court that were opposed to some people didn't like it. Like today, Supreme Court gives a decision. I don't like it, you don't like it. And the response of those days was that people in high-profile office, when decisions were given which they didn't like, they would come and pick them up, send their surrogates to pick them up and go and kill them. And people sit on social media today and say that is okay. What kind of people are we? You can say that is okay, but whatever you sow is whatever you will reap. You will reap it. If you sow it, you will reap it. That's why the Bible starts that by saying that do not be deceived. Read that scripture. It precedes by saying that do not be deceived. For whatever a man soweth, that is what you reap. Forgiveness is there, it is eternal, but reaping is daily. Dr. Corantin Addo said, that's the husband. Dr. Corantin Addo said that He would do everything in his power to ensure that the kidnappers were arrested and punished. He then went on to tell us the manner in which his wife was seized at gunpoint and how the kidnappers had told a lie that there was a sick colleague of hers in a car outside. The same thing they told Justice Ejapon. Justice Adom said that the kidnappers must have been soldiers because they did everything with military precision. And he said the weapons they carried were certainly military weapons. He told us that he followed the vehicle from his house to the former military police office, a distance of more than 100 meters, but they outpaced him. There was one thing I learned, this is the writer saying, I learned about Mrs. Adom, and that was that she had, since the coming into office of the PNDC, constantly expressed fears about her safety. She had made these fears known to the Abanga family and several other friends, from Mrs. Adom's son, who reported the kidnapping of his mother to the Abangas. We heard that his friend Kusi spoke to the kidnappers that night and was the one who directed them to the house. PC Kusi told us that he normally studied in the evenings with Mrs. Adom's son, who was his friend. They will study at Adom's one night and at his home the other night. Kusi was also a judge, by the way. On that particular night, they had been studying at his house. He said that he accompanied his friend to the gates of their bungalow as usual and started walking back to his house, which was only the next door. He said that just before he got to the gate of his father's house, a vehicle drove past. After the vehicle had gone beyond the gate, it stopped, turned and drove towards him. The vehicle, according to PC Kusi, drove very slowly, and when it stopped, one of the occupants, the driver, asked him where Adom lived. He said he pointed to the house and went inside. He said that he could identify the vehicle if he saw it. However, he did not see the people in the vehicle clearly, so he could not identify any of them. He did not even get to see how many were in the vehicle. The kidnappers said they were using a Ghana Broadcasting Corporation vehicle. A check from the Ghana Broadcasting House could confirm this. This is how the four, Major Akwa, the 3 High Court judges, this is how they were picked up. That's a ghastly story. I'm not done yet, and I'm really sorry to be doing this, but I'm not done yet. Let's move on. The aftermath, the discovery of the bodies. On inspection, we discovered that the bodies were charred from burns they had suffered as a result of being set on fire. They were lined up and they seemed to have been made to sit or stand on some stones before they were shot. The stones now lay under the bodies, which were riddled with bullets holes. The lower parts of the left foot of one of the victims had been amputated. The amputated part had been left at the scene. The victim's clothes were completely burnt and they lay naked. One of the male bodies, which was later identified as Justice Torkorno, had severely burnt left hand. The female was found wearing a pair of earrings and a ring on the left ring finger. There was a pair of sandals lying under her feet. The marks made by the burnt brazier could still be seen around what remained of her breast. The band she had used to hold her hair was partially bent. One of the male bodies had a wristwatch still strapped to the decomposed wrist, a ring on the ring finger with the inscriptions SKA, a half-bent belt still around his waist, and a Parker pen on his chest. We found empty shells of ammunition and some pellets at the spot, which were collected. We also found pieces of military uniform, which were thought could have been left there either by some of the soldiers who came there for exercise or by the murderers. We picked them up as part of the evidence. That was what they found. I still clearly remember the dark days of 1st July, 2nd July. All of our parents in Burma camp gathered around television. And in those days, if you said something, your father would slap you because the television started playing the national anthem. And that meant that Flight Lieutenant Rawlings was about to address the nation. And we were in Burma camp. And in Burma camp, many of the army officers, all of our fathers, were supporters of Rawlings. And to some extent, supporters of the revolution. This was a military uprising that many of the young army officers liked it. My father was a captain at the time. He was a young army officer, together with George Patterson and Richard Addo. They were all in my house that day in Burma camp. I was there. I was small. I remember them. And they were watching the television together. They were all very sad. Very, very, very sad. And usually they will allow me to run around them, but on this occasion, I can never forget. It was raining again. On this occasion, they told me to shut up, and they were brutal about the shut up. So I remember the Ghana television started playing, God bless our homeland, Ghana, and the coat of arms was there. And when the thing ended, if a pin had dropped, there were about 5 army officers in my house. If a pin had dropped, you could have heard it. My mother was kneeling over the dining table. I remember. She was kneeling over the dining table watching. The officers were sitting down. I was squatting in front of them. And then Fly Lieutenant Rawlings appeared. And his first words, I'll never forget. He said, countrymen and women. I remember that. So I remember it. This is what happened. This is what Idana said. In the evening, the chairman of the PNDC, Rawlings, gave an entirely inappropriate speech to the nation. He used the occasion to extol the virtues of his revolution and to attack those whom he referred to as enemies of the revolution. I would like to reproduce the speech as I recorded. Yes, it's here. He said, fellow countrymen, I think he said, and women as well. Fellow countrymen, yesterday evening, Saturday, 3rd July 1982, I was informed that 4 corpses had been found in the Accra Plains. Investigations have revealed that these were bodies of the 3 judges abducted on Wednesday, 30th June evening, together with the body of Major Sam Akwa. The 3 judges are Mrs. Justice Cecilia Krantin Addo, Mr. Justice K.A. Ajapon, and Mr. Justice S.P. Sarkodie. I wish to express my horror and that of the government at these heinous acts of terrorism. We condemn these acts from the depth of our hearts that they are against all principles which this revolution process is designed to advance. What is clear already, however, is that this shameful deed has been carried out by enemies of the nation who have sworn to turn the clock back in this country and to restore a system of enslavement of the people. These elements have given the government of the PNDC not more than 6 months in office and have recently intensified their preparation for an assault on the PNDC. During the past week, we have had to put our military forces on alert in order to crush any possible attack. Realizing, as these enemies of the nation must have done, that any military attack against us will lead to a certain defeat for them, they have adopted the tactics of terrorists by the kidnapping and murder of innocent citizens in order to create an atmosphere of fear and panic among the population and to use those as an opportunity for further action. Such terrorism, whether originating from counter-revolutionaries or elements ostensibly sympathetic to the revolutionary process, cannot be allowed to go unpunished. For if it is allowed, those who are predisposed to such acts of their own private purposes will feel encouraged and continue to engage in such acts against whomever they choose. This will plunge the nation into anarchy and chaos, thereby destroying the opening that the revolutionary process gives for advancing real democracy in the country. These events have brought the processes initiated by the 31st December uprising to a critical stage. The enemies of the people's interests will seize upon them to attack, slander, and derail the revolutionary process in an attempt to turn back the striving of our people for a better life. I wish to assure the nation that every effort is being made by a special high-powered investigations team to trace the criminals who have perpetrated this horrible act and to deal with them, whoever they are and whatever their motive, in accordance with the democratic laws of this country. And I love that he said, J.J. Rawlings, having overthrown the government, was talking about democratic laws of the country. He continues, may I express to the bereaved families my profound and sincere condolence upon the loss of their beloved ones. May their souls rest in peace. Listening to this, that's where it ends. Listening to the speech and later reading the text, Idana is writing now, I could see that the chairman harbored some hatred against the dead people, for he failed to mention even one thing to their credit. Dr. Krantin Addo later said that the chairman's speech was in a watered-down tone. Those are Idana's words. Those are not my words. I just remember that Fly Lieutenant Rawlings spoke. And I still remember that night. I can see it again today when they had finished, we were in Burma Villas, when they had finished the event. My father and his friends didn't quite say much to each other. They all stood up. They walked onto the veranda. They had a little bit of chit chat. I didn't go out with them. I heard the car spark, so I knew that they were going away. My father came back and he went into his room. He was on the phone the whole night talking to people. I don't know who he was talking to, but that's what happened. That's what happened. Now, who is the aftermath narrowing the suspects in the power down? What's happening here? Okay, no, this part won't take it. So, the funeral. If we have the funeral, let's take the funeral bit and then we come to it. And is that the funeral? Okay, so this is the funeral now. Not long after my arrival, so eventually the state took responsibility. And they buried the people by a state funeral. The state paid for it. That is what is still celebrated. So if you're a young lawyer, you're a 26-year-old brilliant lawyer, don't be taken in by the propaganda. This was a dastardly Adom Otchere. There was a trial, and I'll go to that in a bit. I have a little bit of time, so I'll do that. The Special Investigations Board, led by no less a person than Mr. Justice Azukrab, led the Special Investigations Board. F.K. Apalu was Chief Justice in those days. As you know, Apalu had been Chief Justice from the Liman era, and he remained Chief Justice. And this time, they had held several meetings with Rawlings. Johnny Hansen was the Minister for Interior. His name was on the lips of soldiers all the time. Mrs. Joyce Ayi, I think, was at that time Deputy Minister of Information or something. The PNDC government was just forming. It was just forming. I don't even think Kwesi Botwe had come in yet. It was just forming, and this thing occurred in 1982. It was very, very bad. And Captain Chikata, of course, was very much in charge of national security in those days. So Yidana is describing what happened at the church service. He says, not long after my arrival at the service, the coffin started arriving. Suddenly, all hell broke loose. The mourners started weeping and wailing uncontrollably. To emphasize that the dead were being given a state burial, all 4 coffins were partly covered by the national flag of Ghana. A few minutes later, after the arrival of the coffins of the late Major Aqua, the service started. It was jointly officiated by the then Provost Justice Akrofi, Right Reverend Frimpong, who was the moderator of the Presbyterian Church of Ghana, and the then General Secretary of the Christian Council, Reverend Ansa. Among those who paid tributes to the 4 people were the then Chief Justice, Mr. Justice Apalu, the PNDC Secretary for Justice, Mr. Akins, and Mr. E.D. Kom, the then President of the Ghana Bar Association. At one point during the service, we had to deal with the situation, blah, 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 blah. I do not remember very well the exact number of PNDC representatives at the funeral, but I can recall the faces of Mr. Asante, who was PNDC Secretary for Education, that's KB Asante, Mr. Akins, who was Justice Akins, later became Justice Akins, Justice of the Supreme Court, at that time was Attorney General, Mr. Johnny Hansen, the PNDC member and Secretary for the Interior, Reverend Komfo Damoa. Finally, the 3 bodies were buried, and the 4th one was cremated. The required ceremonies befitting a state burial were performed, and the funeral came to an end. Drenched from the rain and the shivering from the cold, I led my team of detectives to the police headquarters, where I briefed Inze as I was leaving. He told me to come to the police headquarters the next day before going to my office. So after his secondary education at Tamale Secondary School, the then known government secondary school in Tamale, he taught at the Bunkrubu and Walewale middle schools before entering the University College of Cape Coast in October 1965, where he studied physics, chemistry, biology, psychology, measurement, statistics, and sociology. From September 1969 to August 1970, he taught biology and general science at the Boku Secondary School. He joined the Ghana Police Service in October 1970 and was sent to the Police College as Chief Inspector of Police. While there, he successfully completed a course in the criminal law, criminal procedure, practical police work, criminal investigations, and other subjects. He was posted to the headquarters of the Criminal Investigations Department of the Police Service in March 1971 and promoted to the rank of Assistant Superintendent of Police. He worked in the Greater Accra, Northern, Upper East, and Upper West regions as a crime officer. He rose to the rank of Chief Superintendent of the Police in April 1980. While stationed in the Greater Accra region as the Regional Crime Officer, the author took part in the investigations of some matters of national security between March 1980 and November 1981. In the course of the investigations, he came into contact with many serving and retired military officers and civilians. On 6th of March 1983, after the completion of investigations into the murder of the 3 High Court judges and a retired army officer, he was arrested and charged with the offense of harboring a criminal. He was tried by one of the National Public Tribunals together with his wife and 2 others. The author was sentenced to 8 years imprisonment with hard labor. After completing his sentence on 8th July 1988, he was not released. That's Idana. I'm not sure why he was tried, but this is Idana, and this is the book. And I have to give credence to Papako Akwe, the former Director of Public Relations of the Ghana Bar Association, a distinguished barrister who called me 3 or 4 years ago, and of course he was my mate in the Faculty of Law in Legon, Papako Akwe, and he called me and said, Paulus, I have a treasure for you and you have to pay me. And I said, what is it? They said, I have a treasure for you. This is something you would like. I said, tell me what it is. He said, look. I said, what is it about? They said, are you going to give me something? He said, no, you have to come and see me. He said, where are you? I said, I'm in the office. He said, I'm sending it to you. As soon as you get it, call me. So a gentleman came with a brown envelope, and this was in. I opened it, and I saw the book, Who Killed the Judges? I called him and said, Papako, I owe you. And he gave me this book. I think that this book should be reproduced and put in the libraries of political science. All the political science departments in KNUST, in Legon, everywhere. The Faculty of Laws everywhere should have it. Not as a compulsory reading material, but something that students can look at, so that even after 100 years, we will never forget. You go to Europe and you see the way they talk about Second World War. They never forget. Let's not forget. Let's not people come on social media and be writing things that they do not understand and talk about anything anyhow. The people who came before us, those who are older, they have gone through a lot in this nation, and they have fostered national unity in spite of all of these things. So when you see the lawyers saying that they are not going to court on 30th June and that they are going for Martyrs' Day, let's not talk anything about them and say that they are NPP or that they are NDC or that they don't like this or they don't like that. These martyrs laid their life down for the Ghana that we have, for the 1992 Constitution. And congratulations to President Ajekum Kufuor and Nana Akufo-Addo, who put this idea there. As soon as Kufuor became president, he decided that he will honor them. And now today, when you go to the court buildings and when tourists come in, they ask that who are these people? The story of the 3 High Court judges and the murdered retired army officer should never ever be forgotten from our memory. Those who committed the crime can be forgiven, and that is okay, but they should never be forgotten. I have to add that the Special Investigations Board that conducted the investigations came up with a guilty party. Joachim Amatekwe was said to be responsible for the murder. Joachim Amatekwe was executed by firing squad at a tertiary range few months after the investigations ended. We all know the story. Kojo Yanka, who was a minister in the NDC, is a big NDC member, has captured it in his book. Kojo Yanka in his book, unfortunately I don't have the book here, but I've done this story here before, and Kojo Yanka actually called me, I was happy with it. Kojo Yanka in his book captured the story of how he reported as a journalist the interview between Flight Lieutenant Rawlings and Joachim Amatekwe just before Amatekwe was killed. J.J. Rawlings had a tape recorder and went to Amatekwe and got Amatekwe to say on the tape that Captain Chikata was not part of the conspiracy of the murder. Captain Chikata was at the time the Director of National Security. May he also rest in peace. Kojo Yanka, as editor of the Graphic, published this story, and he was fired as editor of the Graphic because he published the story. He never understood it, but he thought that the chairman of the PNDC had called journalists to the range and told them that I have interviewed Amatekwe, and he played the tape, and they heard Amatekwe's voice saying that, Chairman, I did the murder alone, Captain Chikata was not part of it. Kojo Yanka put this on the front page of the Graphic. As a result of that, he was sacked, and he was asked to go to Ghana Journalists Association to be the director. We don't know what connotation you put to it, we don't know how you interpret it, but this is the truth, the raw history that has come out of this republic. So on 1st July, as we celebrate what John Mahama has given us, let's remember 30th June, Martyrs' Day, is very, very important. I have been brought to this position because of what I've seen on social media about Martyrs' Day and how people are talking about it and trivializing it as if it means nothing, as if it's somebody's political agenda. That Martyrs' Day is now somebody's political agenda. And I was disappointed that when I was told that the Attorney General did not attend the Martyrs' Day yesterday, the Deputy Attorney General did not attend. They had somebody senior up from the high-profile official from the Attorney General's department. But the two, I don't know whether they were in town, I don't know. But let's not trivialize Martyrs' Day on the altar of NDC, NPP politics. It is too important. If you go to England, nobody trivializes the Second World War on the altar of the Labour Party and the Conservative Party. If you go to America, abolition of slavery and those important things, nobody trivializes it on the altar of Democrat and Republican. Let's be a sensible people, a united people. We can fight our politics. We will always fight, and we have to fight. But That's not how we trivialize important things like Martyrs' Day. People were picked up from their homes and killed. Let us tell ourselves that never again. Let our grandchildren come and celebrate it. Remember Martyrs' Day and let them say that 150 years ago, this happened. And later on, unity was fostered. And every 1st July, when we do the National Thanksgiving prayer, we remember the day before, June 30th, never again. Let's say that. May they rest in perfect peace. Engineer Kwabena Japan continues to be part of our psyche. And every time we used to see him on TV as children, we will say that, oh, this is Kwabena Japan. And Kwabena has kept this smile for 43 years. It's not easy to do that. He's kept this smile for 43 years. Yes, he joined politics on the MPP side. It doesn't mean anything. And I don't even know where the rest of the children, they always talk about it, that it's only Kwabena Japan who shows up. Some of them are too pained to even associate with Ghana. Major Akwa's children, they don't want to see Ghana. Cecilia Krantiado, they don't want Ghana. And I'm hoping that President Mahama, who we have confidence in, if anybody can do this, President Mahama, who can do it? He can bring those people together and have dinner with them and let us say sorry. It will never happen again. Because at least they've seen the monument. I think President Kufuor did something like that. That this Martyrs' Day event should never be trivialized. I was very sad when I was looking at social media yesterday. Oh, Martyrs' Day, what? People were killed in Techima. I didn't know human beings. Everybody who is killed is a human being, and it's very important that we deal with it. But let us not say because of Techiman, Martyrs' Day doesn't matter. Techiman matters. Techiman is very important. We must not kill people because of election. It's very, very important. But Martyrs' Day is also very important. Neither should be trivialized. And let us use that occasion to foster national unity and go for it. Kalahari, I salute you and your family. I've not finished with Kalahari. I salute you and your family, and the Lord be with you. And we hope that you can keep this smile. These are very, very important Ghanaians. Very, 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 very important Ghanaians. People who have suffered and continue to play their role in this country. He was a civil servant, working at the highways as a civil engineer, in spite of everything that happened. He was working at Ghana Broadcasting Corporation of all places. The car that came to pick his father to go and kill him. He served the GBC. Very, very important. He was building roads for Ghana at highways. He served in President Kufuor's administration. He's been serving and serving and serving. Nobody has come to say he stole in one city. Never. He served as the General Secretary of the MPP. Kudos to you, Kalahari. Kudos. Let's come to another story. Slightly related, but I'm sure some of the political people who are watching me knew that I was coming to this Edu Lodge and whether Edu Lodge had a role to play in it. Justice Torkorno has had a prayer session with the Christian Council, which video I'll show you. But I just want to show you something about this Edu Lodge, because myself and my friend Oliver Vomaho have been having arguments since Justice Torkorno's press conference and talking about Edu Lodge. People have trivialized it. He's talking about Edu Lodge. What does Edu Lodge that? And there's people said, oh, so because she's related to Major Akwa, she hates the NDC. Is Kojo Yanka not an NDC person? There are many, many people who abhor the killing of the judges who support the NDC. I'm sure President John Mahama abhors the killing of the judges, but he's an NDC person. So it's not about NDC or MPP. Kojo Yanka, he was sad. He nearly died. They could have killed him. As graphic editor, they could have killed Kojo Yanka. He's a member of the NDC. John Mahama is a member of the NDC. He's a leader of the NDC. There are many people who did not support, who think that this is a dastardly act. Nana Kunedu Ajiman Rawlings, I interviewed her. She thought this was a dastardly act. She cried about it. She was a member and founder of the NDC. It is not about NDC MPP. So when Justice Torkorno talks and they say, oh, she doesn't like NDC, there are many people who love Major Akwa who are members of the NDC. Report of the Special Investigations Board, kidnapping and killing of specified persons, March 1983. The report has a coat of arms in the Republic of Ghana. There is a section in it, in the report, I'll show you the details, but it says here, Amate Kwe and Captain Chikata retired met at Edu Lodge on October 31st, 1982 and agreed upon a strategy to mislead the Special Investigations Board in order to save the government from disgrace and collapse. Paragraph 197. This is what it reads. Amate Kwe and Captain Kojo Chikata met at Edu Lodge on 31st October 1982 and agreed upon a strategy to mislead the Special Investigations Board in order to save the government from disgrace and collapse. Amatekwe's statement dated 5th December 1982 was the result of that strategy. Paragraph 197 and paragraph 198, the Special Investigations Report. I have to quickly add that during the National Reconciliation Commission, Captain Kojo Chikata, appearing before the commission, led by Obed Asamoah, his lawyer, said that Yidana and Justice Akins had for years told Ghanaians that he had been part of the murder of the 3 High Court judges. He flatly denied that he was a member of he was part of the murder of the 3 High Court judges. He flatly denied that he was in cahoots with Amatekwe in any way. That has to be put on record. But this is the report of the SIB. And Chikata, appearing before the National Reconciliations Commission in 2002, and I was reporting it then, flatly denied it. He was led by Obed Asamoah. Obed Asamoah is still alive. I think Obed Asamoah has captured that in his book. Obed was counsel. Incidentally, Obed and I think it was Alban Bagbin. Obed, Alban Bagbin, and Chocho Opoku were lawyers for Captain Chikata. Chocho Opoku is on our bill tonight on 24-hour economy. So I have to put that on record. But this is what is said, that they met at Edu Lodge in 31st October 1982. So when Justice Torkorno talk about Edu Lodge, that may be the reason. Now let's see the video of the pastors. Yes, Christian Council prayers with CJ Torkorno earlier today. Is it a video or is it photographs that you have? Is it just photographs? Okay, it's just photographs. So there it is. Let's open it up and look at it. The Christian Council had visited Justice Torkorno, and they had prayed with her in the tribulation that she is going through. This is the unmistakable figure of Justice Torkorno's husband, and this is Justice Gertrude Torkorno, the Chief Justice, who is currently going through impeachment processes at Edu Lodge on the Castle Road. I think it's the same photograph that I'm rolling over. They had some nice chit chat over there. So 30th June and 1st July are both very, very, very important commemorative days in Ghana. It's good that 30th June comes before 1st July, because on 30th June we remember, we forgive, and on 1st July we unite and pray for our nation, Ghana. 10 minutes to the top of the hour, 11 o'clock. Let's go to the text messages. We'll take a short break. When we come back, 24-hour economy, and also Alex Kwesen Saki. What did he do and what did he not do? Okay, Anzaba, give us the messages.
Thank you very much, Paul. We'll take this message from Samuel Owusu Asante. He says, Paul, thanks for this deep history. From Samuel Ofusuban, he says, Paul, I need a copy of the book. Where can I get one today? Manuel Sankofi says, may their souls rest in peace. Never again must this happen in the Republic of Ghana. Na says, this is very sad. From YPW, he says, I heard the car keys of the car was on Rollins' center table. I don't know how true that is, but it was fueled by a hate speech, just like they did in opposition, and they are doing right now. From Anofo, he says, this was inhumane. May the gentle souls of our heroes continue to rest well. For the murderers, their souls shall continue to suffer in hellfire. From Nana Yao, he says, we are criminal minds. How can we do this to ourselves because of politics? I'm in tears already. This barbaric act must not be condoned in our country. God have mercy on us. From Richard Bonsu, he says, cut off their legs and bend them. This is crazy at the highest level. This story has never been told as is being told today. From Kofi Zamar, he says, I wasn't born at that time, but my boss has made me feel the pain that they went through. Bennett Danso says, Paul, indeed, the killers of these innocent judges and military officer is something that must not happen again in this country. As I once heard Kweku Baku say on Sefa Kai's Kokoroko show on Peace FM, that the Amatekwe man is still alive and hiding in Togo or something. Please confirm that for me. From Daniel Obeng, he says, Paul, you are doing a great job. From EB Affair, he says, Paul, please highlight the fact that one of the principal perpetrators, Lance Corporal Samuel Kweku Amedeka, a fugitive from justice, is walking freely in Togo. Cornelius says, Apostle, do you think a curfew would work in this current generation? From Ni Oko, he says, Paul, please do show the photographs of the dead. It is part of the learning process. And lastly, from Sandra, she says, one of the darkest days in the history of this country. It shall not be forgotten.
Good evening to Mr. Ansansadeli. Is he there? On Thursday, we have some information, the latest information about Miss Ansansadeli and her behaviors. That's for Thursday. Today is serious matters. So tell Mr. Ansansadeli that the Ministry of Education is awarding WAEC winners, and they're allowing people who didn't have the opportunity to finish the SSS program to come and complete. So maybe he wants to come and complete from the SS2. Maybe he wants to come to SS3 and do it. Okay. Why is cocoa usually nicer in the evening? You know, when we were growing up, we used to have it in the morning, but these days, it's actually much nicer in the evening. I don't know why. Get a cocoa drink. Yeah? It's produced and made in Ghana. It's nice. All right. Let me always remind you of the time. It's 18 minutes to the top of the hour at 10 o'clock. So, a historic moment in Ghana today. President John Dramani Mahama and his team put up a national Thanksgiving service. My favorite video from today was, you can imagine, Mami Agrada shaking hands with people and having a warm embrace with one of her former nemesis, Reverend Owusu Bempa. They shook hands. I don't know whether the guys have the video. I saw it on our platform. I don't know whether they put it in, but it was on our platform earlier today. We were all commenting on it. Oh yeah, that's it. Mami Agrada embattled in court, and there you go. Was that Nigel Gazy? I'm not sure. But some of these pastors, yeah, this is the one. Oh, this is lovely. This is lovely. You know, only a national Thanksgiving can bring this together. Reverend Owusu Bempa in his expensive shades and his beautiful shirt. Agrada is taking his phone number. Yeah. He wants the phone number. It's 05. Thank you, President Mahama, for the event. These are some of the photographs. Alban Sumanu Kingsford Bagbin, the Chief of Defense Staff, First Lady Lordina Mahama, President John Dramani Mahama, and the military. Hey, whose hands are these? But it looks good. The national flag. Alban Bagbin sharing a moment with Lordina Mahama. I should cancel, yeah? Okay, cancel. Cancel? Yeah, all right. I don't know the other people, but this is the Chief of Defense Staff. This is First Lady and President, or if you like, President and First Lady attending the event. This is in the middle of the photograph is Dr. Kwabena Dufour. On his right, I believe, it looks like Mrs. Nokodia. I don't know whether she's the one. And some of the dignitaries who attended the event. Vice President, Professor J. Nana Opoku-Agyeman. And then you have here, oh, my Lord Chief Justice, Mr. Justice Bafuboni. The acting Chief Justice, Justice Bafuboni, was in full attendance. Is that not interesting to see? And I was delighted to see also Bafuboni yesterday at the Martyrs' Day ceremony because it was obvious that the Attorney General was absent. The learned Attorney General and the Deputy Attorney General were both absent from the Martyrs' Day ceremony yesterday. I'm not sure why. We'll come to talk about Martyrs' Day soon. And then again, the Justice Bafuboni and Idrisu Haruna, who is leading. Hey, please don't forget the Musa Dankwa polls. We're going to deal with it. Musa Dankwa has published polls in NDC and NPP, and he has Idrisu Haruna here leading the NDC charge that if the NDC contest for who becomes leader of the party, as we all know, President Mahama is ineligible to contest. If for who becomes leader of the party, Musa Dankwa has published polls now that Idrisu Haruna is leading the charge before Asiedu Nkatia, before K. Solato Forsen, before Julius Debra, who is one of the big favorites. Julius Debra, one of the big favorites, is at the fourth position of polls that Musa Dankwa published, that if those elections were conducted today, that's what will happen. Justice Bafuboni, the acting Chief Justice, Vice President Jenana Opoku-Agyeman, Minister for Education and MP for Tamale South, Idrisu Haruna. Alban Sumanu Kingsford Bagbin appears to be reading something. He's the Speaker of Parliament. The embattled Garmanche, Honorable Kelvin, was also there, and I'm hoping that the Ghana situation is really solved. I've seen the videos, I've had calls, I've had both sides wanting to appear on the show. I've told them that I don't want to use this program to sort of facilitate the agenda of anyone against the Ghana people. It's important that they come together and make peace. The Court of Appeal has made the decision. It can't be challenging the Supreme Court. If that's the way, let's challenge it. It really hurts me when the Ghanaians are fighting like that, because they're great people. They're great people. So, but he was there. He was there. I don't know whether Adom Otchere was also there. Who else can I see here? The clergy, the high-profile clergy were all there. Oh, my favorite. This is one of my favorite pastors, Ambassador Dag Mills. Now, I call him ambassador because this man has traveled more countries than many foreign ministers in Ghana. In fact, if you put all the foreign ministers of the Fourth Republic together, Ambassador Dag Mills may have traveled further than all of them. And he travels always for a noble cause. He travels to touch people in the name of Jesus and heal them. He travels to take people out of the wheelchair, let them stand. He travels to conduct evangelism. Dag Mills is a man full of energy and power. And I really, really, really love Bishop Dag. He was there. I was very happy to see him in the show. Bishop Dag, good evening. Good evening. How are you doing? I'll come and visit you at the... You know, in the Lighthouse denomination, me, I belong to First Love. You know, First Love, that's Bishop Joshua's church. That's where I belong. Ambassador Bishop Dag Mills was there. This is Bishop Taki Aboy, another very favorite pastor of mine. I used to share the same gym with him many, many years ago. People don't know that, but back in the day, we shared the same gym in Sakumono in 2004, 2005. Incidentally, I said Dunkete was coming to that gym as well. Those days, Sakumono was Sakumono when we were all there. You know, Joe Garte was coming to that gym as well. It was very nice times. 2004, 5, 6, 7. It was a beautiful time. Pastor Taki Aboy. Hey, did I say Taki Aboy? Isaac Quay. Reverend Isaac Quay. There he is again, Reverend Isaac Quay. I'm hoping I'll see Reverend Taki Aboy somewhere. Is that Mrs. Bafoboni? I'm guessing so. Is that Lydia Donko, the CID? I'm guessing so. The CID boss, I'm guessing so. Because this looks like the security people's area. Very, very beautiful event today. And hey, my people. These are my people. Alexander Afenyo Markin, my people. Nana B. Yeah, they were all there. They were all there in full swing. And they were all there in full color. And that was very beautiful. A united event. Hey, these are also my people. This is he a colonel or a brigadier general? I'm not sure what. His name is Anando, a strong, very strong officer. Back to the days, John Dramani Mahama, President of Ghana, Chief of Defense Staff, Lordina Mahama, Speaker of Parliament, Mr. Bagbin, Chief of Staff. This is where the power is. You see, this is where the power is. Chief of Staff in the middle, Julius Debra, Fifi Kwete, the General Secretary of the ruling party, Prosper Bani, National Security Advisor, and one of my favorite people, the Honorable Do Ajao, who is the Chairman of the Council of State. Now, I call him Do Ajao, and he understands why I call him Do Ajao, because I have to tell you the story. Just give me 1 second, I'll finish. When Tony Blair visited Ghana, when Kufuor was president, he was the Majority Chief Whip. And I was covering the event for the, I don't know whether it was for ITV or so. I was covering the event for one of the important international people. And so I was very close to the action. And so Kufuor was introducing the leadership of parliaments to Prime Minister Blair. And when he got to his turn, Kufuor said to Prime, and when Kufuor mentioned the person's name, Tony Blair will usually repeat it. So he says, Osaiche Mensa Bonsu, then he will say Osaiche Mensa Bonsu. So when he got to his turn, Kufuor said, this is the minority chief whip. His name is Do Ajao. And Tony Blair said, Do Ajao. And he shook his hand. So since that day, that's how I refer to the Right Honorable Do Ajao, who later became Speaker of Parliament. He's now the Council of State Chairman. I think I can see Felix Kwachiofosu over here. His head bowed. Yes. You know when you know somebody, you can still see him in the dark. I think this is Felix Kwachiofosu. He was also there at the event. Now, the Papa. This is the big one. The commanding Papa. So, this is Reverend Mama Makwe. This is Pastor Steve. Is this Steve or Stanley? Yeah, I should be careful. Steve Mensah. They are twins, you know, so it can get very complicated. I think this is Pastor Steve Mensah. This is the commanding Papa of all time. This is the Ajinasari. I believe Reverend Isaac Quay is behind him. We have a video of the Papa. We're going to show it to you, so it's coming. You can never miss a Papa's prayer The traditional authority was also there. I understand this was happening across. Reverend Titi Ofe over here, and Fitzgerald Odonko of the Harvest Chapel was also there. This is Father Wengam. There's a reason why I call him Father Wengam. You know, he's Pastor Wengam. He's the boss of the Assemblies of God Church. Congratulations to him, recently appointed as the chairman of the National Immigration Service, of the governing board of the National Immigration Service. Those days we used to be at CTFM. Now he stopped, but he ran the CTFM pastor show for a very long time, very, very successfully. There was one of the Amate Fews, the original owners of CTFM. One of them is an Amate Few, and I think they were Catholics. And so he always call and say that, Father Wengam's thing was good today. You know, he spoke in Ghana. He said, Father Wengam, so I call him Father Wengam. And anytime I see him and I say Father Wengam, he will shake my hand and we have a good laugh. Reverend Wengam was there to speak. Julius Debra again, Do Ajao, and Alban Bagbin Fifi Kwete. This is the clergy. Oh, this is the Cardinal. His Grace, His Eminence. Oh, that's beautiful. He came all the way from Rome, where he's based, to join the service. Look at the Papa, look at the Papa. You know, you have to love the Papa. Look at the Papa, look at the Papa. You just have to love him. The Papa, you can easily mistake him for the director of the CIA. You know, when you see the Papa, it's very easy to think that he's the director of the CIA, but he's the Papa. His Eminence, the Archbishop Nicholas Duncan Williams, was there to grace the occasion. And then, oh yeah, this is where the action was. People celebrated, were dancing. It looked like a very good day. It looked like, is that Nite Kotego? I see what? No, it's not him. It looked like a very, very good day. Lordina Mahama again back to the stage. Alexander Afenyo Markin, Patricia PJ, the minority from Parliament. This is Mrs. Emisa Arthur, Christian Council Prayers with This is Mrs. Emisa Arthur, who we have to recognize, the wife of the former Vice President, Matilda Emisa Arthur, I believe that's her name. She was there and she graced the occasion as well. The military and the Air Force bosses. Okay, enough of the photographs. Oh, I like this. Is that the Women's Fellowship?